Hello everyone. It's been absolutely ages since I've done a live. Yeah, I've just been really up and down, as I have shared lately, and yeah, it's been it's still very difficult to kind of get the words out. Even reaching for the words is really difficult sometimes. Yeah, it's a bit like being hit by a sledgehammer, to be honest. And yeah, it does knock you for six when you're just overtaken by negativity, by fear, by anxiety, which, yeah, I've really discovered that, like, the powerful physicality of anxiety. I've never really been a particularly anxious person, I would say. I mean, of course, like most people, I definitely would have bouts of anxiety about things, but when it's this kind of nebulous thing that hits out of nowhere, and you can't even really trace it to its root, it's very destabilizing. And I've experienced that quite a lot lately. So yeah, I've got a bit more of an understanding now when people talk about being, kind of crippled with anxiety. I get it. I hope you're all doing well. I know that a lot of people are very much up and down, mostly down, it seems to be, with a lot of this stuff. But there's always the common denominator, which is what I've been looking at again for the millionth time probably now. It's being in that state of fear. It's always being trapped in an emotional state that kind of hijacks your thinking. It influences everything. And when I take it a bit further, it's absolutely to do with over-identifying with this, with this finite, discrete entity that's contained in this body, and the fear and anxiety comes from, yeah, keeping it all together, really. This fear that we won't be safe, which has been absolutely played on to the point of, I mean, it's gone beyond ludicrous now. But it's, that's why they play on it, because they know that's how to get us. So yeah, it's with everything that's going on seemingly, out there, it's it all comes down to us individually as to how we react to it, how we respond to it. And that's what actually influences what happens out there without us realizing it. So when we're responding in fear, which is totally understandable given, our beliefs around what we are and what life is, it's understandable that we react in these ways, but they're so predictable. It's entirely predictable, and so they're able to keep going and going and going, knowing how we're going to react to the latest fear fest. When we react differently, they're thrown, because when we can't be measured by an algorithm, or if the nudge unit's not working and we're not being pushed to respond or react in a certain way, they're curveballs that they can't handle. And what they do not want people to know is that it's our frequency, our vibration, our emotional state, they all kind of, everything is energy, so it's all translated into that, and that's what manifests this seeming separate reality or external circumstances to us. And when people are vibrating out of fear, and it's mostly fear of the future, let's face it, so it's not actually generally even something that we're experiencing now, it's this threat hanging over us of what could happen and what if. When that's removed, when we're not operating in and from that space, then anything's possible, and all kinds of answers are available to us, all kinds of solutions, if you want to call them that, all kinds of information and things that will be cut off because you literally cannot access them when you're in these tumultuous states of fear. Laurie Aston, ground yourself. Exactly, it's when you're completely ungrounded that you're not going to be responding and therefore acting from a place of groundedness, from a place of inner safety and security, which cannot be found out there. And I have to say that's what's triggered a lot of the roller coaster ride, is that feeling of not being safe. And for many of us who have carried that throughout life already, this is just like the ultimate, really. It's like, oh, the worst nightmare is coming true. And that you can have this whole spin out around that. Whereas those that know deep inside innately, because they're not entirely focused on this personality, this body, this character, they're not looking to out there to get their safety and security from. So it's a much bigger thing that's happening here, and I think collectively we're being absolutely pushed to confront those fears, or we're being confronted by them. Actually, there's not much space, much room anymore to keep turning away and to distract ourselves and yeah, just avoid really the things that we don't want to look at. And so yeah, it's a big kick up the arse for a lot of us that have been circling, you know, on the spiritual path, whatever you want to call it, you know, the seekers, those of us that have always known that there's something way beyond what we're experiencing here, and feeling that trapped feeling and that things aren't right, but getting drawn into the world constantly and looking to the world for the answers that can only be found within. And it's like it's a cycle really of suffering in the end. Any time that we're looking outside of ourselves for answers, for someone to lead us, for someone to save us, to help us, please do it for us. It's never going to be this permanent answer that we're looking for. So it's very much an inside job, and the more we do that, the more we go within, and we can start releasing the fear. We can start moving past, allowing the fear to move through us instead of clutching onto it, believing it's real, and therefore we're stuck in it. If we can accept it's there and allow it to move. But I mean, people have got all kinds of spiritual practices to help them do this. You know, I can't, there's no there's no prescription for any of this. It's all very individual, and we've got, luckily we've got the lamps that have been lit along the way for us, going back, well, since time began. But it's very much an inside job, and it's what we're seeing reflected out there is it's a reflection of what's going on in here. And what I do find very encouraging is the amount of truth that is coming out now. It's bittersweet, of course, because so many of us could see what was happening from the beginning, and it's just had to play out this way. But truth will out, and I think because people are actually searching for truth within themselves, then we see it expressed in this manifested reality that we're all co-creating, albeit unknowingly, for most people, but actually we do create our reality. And I think that drive for truth within so many people that might not even be like a really conscious thing, it's still there. But the truth can hurt, you know. It's still very confronting, very painful. We're seeing so many casualties of the medical procedure, which is heartbreaking. But again, it's rather than getting trapped in grief and fear, and being stuck in your mind with it all, when we can release out of those emotions, then there's a clarity that comes. And it's not that you're not still heartbroken by things, of course, but there's more compassion can come through then, and there's a lot more possibility for actually taking action that you wouldn't have been able to think of before. So yeah, that's kind of it. I just felt like just saying hello, really. I'm still here, and I've been speaking to a lot of people that are very much in the grip of doubts and fears, and it's been a tough few years. Even before this, we've been on this journey for a long time now. This is obviously, we're hitting that critical point, but it's tiring. We have to look after ourselves, and do what you need to do for yourself, to get yourself grounded, to get yourself more in a more natural state. And that's it. That's what I've got to say really at the moment. So have a great weekend. I'm really looking forward to my super stand on Sunday. I'll be down visiting St Albans. There's the protest in London tomorrow. So everybody's meeting at Speaker's Corner for 1 o'clock. So it's great to have that shared energy. And I'm just reading a few comments as they come up just before I leave. Leanne, George, no one is saving you except you. Exactly. this is that, and this is it, and we're going to be continually faced with that over and over and over in life, as long as we're identified as this and nothing else, and we think therefore that can be destroyed, it can be threatened, that's what they're using, and it's not true. It's not true, but it's a very persistent illusion, because we're being worked on constantly. So I mean, really, hats off to anyone who's able to even think a little bit straight about this kind of thing, or recognize what's happening, because it's full on absolute blitz of information the whole time, propaganda. So Lackland Smith, yep, happiness is definitely an inside job. It really is. We're never going to find it out there, and we know this already. All the things that we've chased, all the things that we've ever wanted, once we've got them, the search isn't over, because there'll then be the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Once I've got this, once I'm there, once blah blah blah. So yeah, it's not going to be coming from outside there. But we can create a beautiful, beautiful world that reflects what's in here. And then you've got that wonderful loop where you're just in gratitude, despite, you know, regardless of what's actually there. It's that paradox, really, that you create almost by, it's a wonderful byproduct, but it's not the reason. If that makes sense. Possibly not. It's, like I said, it's a struggle at the moment to get things across. Anyway, my battery's about to run out, and I've been going on for quite a while. So yeah, have a lovely weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Sending lots of love. Peace.